Use the directions below to complete the homework assignment on page 76 of your notebook. President Washington created a cabinet that consisted of well-trusted advisors. His first cabinet consisted of 4 members, setting a precedent or example for future presidents to follow. The 4 cabinet positions created under Washington included the Secretary of War, the Secretary of Treasury, the Secretary of State, and the Attorney General. The position of Secretary of War originated from the Articles of Confederation. Henry Knox was the first Secretary of War, which is now known as the Secretary of Defense, under the Articles of Confederation, and continued to serve in this position under President George Washington. In this position, Knox was responsible for all military affairs, focusing primarily on the Army. Knox was specifically tasked with protecting the security of the country and using military forces to deter or prevent war. The current Secretary of Defense is James Mattis. The Treasury Department promotes the economic well-being and financial security for the United States. The person in this position advises the President on financial and economic issues. President Washington selected Alexander Hamilton as the first Secretary of the Treasury. Hamilton was under immense pressure to strengthen the nation and get the country out of debt from borrowing money in the Revolutionary War. Hamilton advised the national government to take over state debt and slowly pay back other countries, building confidence and credit in our young nation. Third, President Washington created the position of Secretary of State to focus on handling relationships with other countries. Thomas Jefferson thus became the first Secretary of State under President Washington. Despite having a Secretary of State, the President still declares the United States foreign policy, but the Secretary of State carries out those policies. Additional requirements of the position include advising the President, conducting negotiations with other countries, and making treaties or agreements. The Attorney General under President Washington was none other than Edmund Randolph, an important contributor at the Constitutional Convention. The Attorney General, Randolph, represented the United States in legal matters and provided advice to the President. Washington took great advantage of this cabinet position, asking Randolph to supervise all of the government's legal affairs.
Created using Powtoon.